What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So on today's figure review, we're going to be taking a look at the new Bandai Movie Monster series, Godzilla 1991, from Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. Let's go ahead and get started by looking to see how much articulation on this vinyl figure has. And start us off here, we're going to be taking a look at the arms. And yep, that pretty much says enough for itself. But to be a little bit optimistic, I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but I'm not going to, because obviously the way how it was designed like this for a reason. So I'm not going to really tempt on trying to pull a 360 on the arm. So I'm just going to say that that's as much as you would like. It's how much I would like to go with the arms. But like I've said before, please use caution when trying to rotate the arms and legs or of like any kind of figure, as they were all designed in a specific way to go as much as they can go, either all the way around or at least half of the way. So in this case, the arms can only go as much as they can, like that, side to side. But now we're going to take a look at the legs, and the legs are probably going to be a different story here. So here we can rotate both of the legs all the way around. And yep, there is no movement in the head, as it's all just one piece on the body. And then as for the tail, as you can see right here, can't really rotate it because they have it glued the tail to the body. So it's probably best to keep it that way. Otherwise, I think my advice would be for that, or the reason why they glue it is because that's probably a portion of part of the figure that could easily come off or just be really loose. So I just advise leaving the tail. If something is glued onto the figure, just leave it as be. Just leave it alone. But yeah, that's pretty much of how much range of motion that this Godzilla 1991 figure can move. Now, as far as the paint job on the figure, here we have on the dorsal plates here, traveling all the way down to the tip of the tail, I would say it's some form of a shade of gray. Yeah, like a gray-ish color, like a light gray maybe. And then as far as with the whole rest of his body, like mainly right here, I know a lot of times, like for most of the Godzillas, are like of a shade of black, like a charcoal color. So I'll stick with that for the main portion of his body. As far as with the toes and his claws right here. So with the toes, they're a yellow. I'm trying to find the word, but like, I know visually it's like a shade of yellow, but like more of a, oof, kind of stuck on the word, but I don't know, like yellow mustard or like a very, yeah, I'll just stick with yellow. But if you have a better visualization of a name of this kind of color, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, I'll stick with that pretty much from now on. When I see this kind of color, it's like a yellow color on the toes and on the claws. And let me go ahead, get you close up of the mouth. And same thing with the, well, surprisingly with the mouth, it's like also a yellow, a yellow color, a lot of red in his mouth. And with the eyes, you have white and then black, and then for the main color of his eyes are orange. I was gonna make a joke, but nope, not gonna happen. But aren't you guys glad that we got this new movie monster series figured out? No? Okay. Anyway, I'll go ahead and move us on to now. We're gonna do a size comparison with other figures right about now. All right, and first up here we have Godzilla 1991 next to Godzilla 2004 from Final Wars. And as you can see, they pretty much almost are toe to toe in the same height, almost. To where I'm sure just by like someone is a little bit taller. And yep, that appears to be, well, let me go ahead and fix that foot. Well, either way, it still appears to be that Godzilla Final Wars is just a little bit taller than the 1991 Godzilla. And as far as what the length on the tail goes, but because the Final Wars, his tail wraps around, well, I won't say wraps, well, almost wraps, gets ready to sway to one side. If his tail was straightened out, I'm sure he'll probably almost the same distance of the length of the tail as of 1991 Godzilla. But for now, the 1991 Godzilla, his tail is as much as the way how the figures are posed is longer than Final Wars. But let's move on. All right, and here we have Godzilla 1991 next to, again, the Bandai Movie Monster series, Gorosaurus. And these two figures, by the time you're watching this video, are recently a new wave of Bandai Japan vinyl figures that recently came out a couple months ago. Well, maybe 2 to 3, maybe 4 months ago. And I must say they're both pretty excellent additions to have in your collection, especially for, like, both in their own way, in their own right. They're both pretty unique to have, as, you know, the Godzilla 1991, maybe a very challenging but not difficult figure to find out there in the wild, either at conventions or collectible stores, and they're much of an older version of the Godzilla 1991, as far as a completely different story for Gorosaurus over here on the right, where its initial release is a lot more difficult to get since they're older counterparts of the figures. They're either a little bit more pricey now since over time, but thankfully you have your options on either of the waves of the figures or the iterations of Godzilla's or Gorosaurus's now, since they're both, well, for Gorosaurus especially, since now he's getting much more love and attention now. But without further ado, let's go ahead and move on now. Okay, and here we have Godzilla 91 next to Biollante from Godzilla vs. Biollante. And yep, this Godzilla definitely taller than this Bandai movie monster series, Biollante. Yep, and there we have it for that. All right, moving on to one more size comparison now. All right, last but not least, here we have Godzilla 91 next to Kong 2021. Also another new, I could say around beginning of the year, to where this Kong 2021 was released around the time of where also this year had occurred of Godzilla vs. Kong. So it's also part of the 2021 wave of new Bandai Japan movie monster series vinyl figures. And I must say, size-wise, they definitely size each other up pretty well. But, okay, now I'm going to pass this along to Fierce Zilla Jr. Alright, Fierce Zilla Jr., any final thoughts? Want to take us to the island again? Or something else?